kept his word. Antonio was not spoiled by his good fortune, but remained at heart the same simple, earnest, faithful boy who had tried so hard to become a good stone cutter in the shop of Pisano. Some may not have heard how the boy Antonio took advantage of this first great opportunity, but all know of Canova, one of the greatest sculptors of all time. Weak men wait for opportunities. Strong men make them. The best men, said E.H. Chapin, are not those who have waited for chances, but who have taken them, besieged the chance, conquered the chance, and made chance the servitor. There may not be one chance in a million that you will ever receive unusual aid, but opportunities are often presented which you can improve to good advantage if you will only act. The lack of opportunity is ever the excuse of a weak, vacillating mind. Opportunities! Every life is full of them. Every lesson in school or college is an opportunity. Every examination is a chance in life. Every patient is an opportunity. Every newspaper article is an opportunity. Every client is an opportunity. Every sermon is an opportunity. Every business transaction is an opportunity. An opportunity to be polite. An opportunity to be manly. An opportunity to be honest. An opportunity to make friends. Every proof of confidence in you is a great opportunity. Every responsibility thrust upon your strength and your honor is priceless. Existence is the privilege of effort, and when that privilege is met like a man, opportunities to succeed along the line of your aptitude will come faster than you can use them. If a slave like Fred Douglass, who did not even own his body, can elevate himself into an orator, editor, statesman, what ought the poorest white boy to do, who is rich in opportunities compared with Douglas? It is the idle man, not the great worker, who is always complaining that he has no time or opportunity. Some young men will make more out of the odds and ends of opportunities, which many carelessly throw away, than other will get out of a whole lifetime. Like bees, they extract honey from every flower. Every person they meet, every circumstance of the day, adds something to their store of useful knowledge or personal power. There is nobody whom fortune does not visit once in his life, says a cardinal, but when she finds he is not ready to receive her, she goes in at the door and out at the window. Cornelius Vanderbilt saw his opportunity in the steamboat and determined to identify himself with steam navigation. To the surprise of all his friends, he abandoned his prosperous business and took command of one of the first steamboats launched at a salary of $1,000 a year. Livingston and Fulton had acquired the sole right to navigate New York waters by steam, but Vanderbilt thought the law unconstitutional and defied it until it was repealed. He soon became a steamboat owner. When the government was paying a large subsidy for carrying the European mails, he offered to carry them free and give better service. His offer was accepted, and in this way he soon built up an enormous freight and passenger traffic. Foreseeing the great future of railroads in a country like ours, he plunged into railroad enterprises with all his might, laying the foundation for the vast Vanderbilt system of today. Young Philip Armour joined the long caravan of 49ers and crossed the great American desert with all his possessions in a prairie schooner drawn by mules. Hard work and steady gains, carefully saved in the mines, enabled him to start 6 years later in the grain and warehouse business in Milwaukee. In 9 years, he made $500,000. But he saw his great opportunity in Grant's order. On to Richmond. One morning in 1864, he knocked at the door of Plankington, partner in his venture as a pork packer. "I am going to take the next train to New York," said he, "to sell pork short. Grant and Sherman have the rebellion by the throat, and pork will go down to $12 a barrel." This was his opportunity. He went to New York and offered pork in large quantities at $40 per barrel. It was eagerly taken. The shrewd Wall Street speculators laughed at the young Westerner and told him pork would go to $60, for the war was not nearly over. Mr. Armour, however, kept on selling. Grant continued to advance. Richmond fell. Pork fell with it to $12 a barrel, and Mr. Armour cleared $2 million. John D. Rockefeller saw his opportunity in petroleum. He could see a large population in this country with very poor lights. Petroleum was plentiful, but the refining process was so crude that the product was inferior and not wholly safe. Here was Rockefeller's chance. Taking into partnership Samuel Andrews, the porter in a machine shop where both men had worked, he started a single-barrel still in 1870, using an improved process discovered by his partner. They made a superior grade of oil and prospered rapidly. They admitted a third partner, Mr. Flagler, but Andrews soon became dissatisfied. "What will you take for your interest?" asked Rockefeller. Andrews wrote carelessly on a piece of paper, $1 million. Within 24 hours, Mr. Rockefeller handed him the amount, saying, "Cheaper at 1 million than 10. In 20 years, the business of the little refinery, scarcely worth $1,000 for building and apparatus, had grown into the Standard Oil Trust, capitalized at $90 million, with stock quoted at 170, giving a market value of 150 millions. These are illustrations of seizing opportunity for the purpose of making money. But fortunately, there is a new generation of electricians, of engineers, of scholars, of artists, of authors, and of poets who find opportunities, thick as thistles, for doing something nobler than merely amassing riches. Wealth is not an end to strive for, but an opportunity, not the climax of a man's career, but an incident. Mrs. Elizabeth Fry, a Quaker lady, saw her opportunity in the prisons of England. From 300 to 400 half-naked women as late as 1813 would often be huddled in a single ward of Newgate, London, awaiting trial. They had neither beds nor bedding, but women, old and young, and little girls, slept in filth and rags on the floor. No one seemed to care for them, and the government merely furnished food to keep them alive. Mrs. Fry visited Newgate, calmed the howling mob, and told them she wished to establish a school for the young women and the girls, and asked them to select a schoolmistress from their own number. They were amazed, but chose a young woman who had been committed for stealing a watch. In 3 months, these wild beasts, as they were sometimes called, became harmless and kind. The reform spread until the government legalized the system, and good women throughout Great Britain became interested in the work of educating and clothing these outcasts. 80 years have passed, and her plan has been adopted throughout the civilized world. A boy in England had been run over by a car, and the bright blood spurted from a severed artery. No one seemed to know what to do until another boy, Astley Cooper, took his handkerchief and stopped the bleeding by pressure above the wound. The